found a book in the bookstore called The Anatomy of the Salamander by Eric T.B. Francis. And it's the most extensive book I have seen on the, get into just the stuff a lot of people would even care about reading, except if you're a biologist or something else. But I mean, it's very extensive about the anatomy of the salamander and its inner workings and everything else. And it's more than what most of them do. I mean, it was it was studied more than any other mammal out there, mainly because they thought, from an evolutionary perspective, they thought it was a cross-link between our evolution from the ocean to land. They were looking for an intermediate species that would go from land. They were looking for a link, and they didn't find it. And it's a good case for design, because it shows you all the intricate parts of the salamander and how they're designed, and everything from the skeleton, the brain, the liver, everything is closely examined. Most of them don't go that far. I mean, as far as examining species, they just give you their habitat. You go to any kind of biology book, you usually get a habitat, what they eat. You get roughly how they reproduce, and maybe a couple other things. And that's about it, you know. Another thing about the salamander, it's the only species out there that actually can rejuvenate its a limb or its tail, and it's a very big advantage. They've been trying to figure out how that works, and none of them ever solved that riddle and how they're able to regenerate limbs in their tail when it gets cut off or amputated or whatever. They have the ability to rejuvenate. All we have to do in medical science is when an arm or something gets lose an arm or a leg, you can put a prosthetic here, but that's about it. There's nothing else they can really do out the medical office these days. So a lot of our veterans now are walking around on artificial limbs or artificial hand. That's all they can really do. So when you're looking at the perspective is that that we're the best deal in the universe, no, the salamander has a better deal. So it's not. They follow that Darwin's theory of evolution that we were the best thing on the earth, but there's alien species out there that could possibly be intelligent life, on some other planet. That part of it possibly can be similar to a salamander. I mean, it's not impossible, but there's alien features out there in some of these species on the planet Earth that have an advantage over us. A good example is the shark's immune system. You go to the health food store, you can get I think it's a shark skin oil or something, and you take it and it boosts your immunity system up. But it's an advantage. The shark doesn't sleep much. He only sleeps maybe about 2 hours a day, but he has a very great immune system, and they discovered that. So I mean, he does have an advantage over us. So there's that's one of the reasons they need to get into more detailed study of some of the life out there besides just the standard stuff you find in books. Because there are some advantages out there, and they might find some cures to things. There's quite a few cures they discovered out there in the jungle in South America and stuff. So studying plant species and stuff, so you never know what they might discover. But the salamander, when you get down to the details of it, this is the brief synopsis on this. The larva can number 40 to 50. I mean, a female salamander can have 40 or 50 offspring. So that's an advantage over us. But here's the thing about that. Because there's quite a few mammal species out there that can have multiple offsprings, where a female woman can only carry one. So they can reduce faster than we can, and they can repopulate faster than we can. So they've discovered that throughout nature, but they've never found anything in nature other than dolphins that have show any kind of high level intelligence. The brain just doesn't grow that big. And dolphins and apes are the only things similar to us. So if it's a better system, they'd have to find the alien species would have to have some better system that would actually grow a brain out and reproduce on a better level. Salamanders also exhibit intrauterine fertilization. A female salamander can do something that we can't. She can store spermatozoa for over a year at a time without any contact with a male, which is an advantage for reproduction. So, you know, that's a big advantage. And I mean, if it was an alien species that could walk upright and stuff, and they can produce 45 of their offspring that quickly, we would be overwhelmed by their numbers out there in the galaxy because of their ability to reproduce. But there's never been anything, we've never found anything like that in nature so far. The larvae also have gills. We have gills too. Eventually, the gills we have when we're zygotes is just basically our lungs that go from outside the body and they eventually become part of our body. But it's not true fish lungs. It's not a very fish gills don't have a very good. It's not very efficient in taking in oxygen, and it starves the brain of oxygen. That's why fish don't develop brains the size we do. Dolphins breathe air. They don't have gills, and their brains are not starved for oxygen. I mean, they got plenty. So but they do have salamanders do have gills, and that can actually read liquid, but it's not a very efficient system. And eventually once they go from larva to going back to land, they lose their gills and they're mostly just air breathers. They also exhibit a poisonous white excretion on their skin. That's a defense. If that was an actual alien, we have no defense in our skin other than just a natural defense against the sun. Solar rays, we do darken when we're exposed to sun during the summertime, but we don't have something grabs a hold of us or bites us or something like that. Our skin doesn't have any kind of defense. Well, that is an advantage. I mean, if an alien arrived and he had a poisonous skin and you're in a fight with him and you're trying to grab a hold of him and stuff and your skin absorbing poison, obviously he's survival of the fittest and he's going to win the fight. So is that an alien out there? It's a possibility. I mean, we never have left the planet Earth, so it's a possibility that could possibly be an alien out there. So that's one of the inspiring things to study these look over these biology books and other things. So what is possibility of alien out there, and how would an alien life form have some of these traits have an advantage over us? It gets more into astral biology, but as far as college program, you know, astrobiology is kind of in its infancy, so there's not even a book on astrobiology out there because there's just not enough information or data. It takes data to be able to figure that out as to what the possibilities are out there. But I can give you some of the examples by studying. When you get into good data like this book, you can get, there's possibilities of what might be an alien life form out there. They do find stuff on the beach regularly out there on the ocean. I got a Facebook and also got a Twitter site. I've been putting some of that up there. But there's always a science team. Anytime they find these alien species of fish and whatever that show up on the beach, there's a science team that usually always follows within a couple hours that goes out there. And I don't know who they're working for, maybe a Interpol or but it is a science team. They usually take samples of the species on the beach. They take pictures. Basically, what they're doing is they take the sample and they're going to run a genome on it. So, which is good data research because you never know. There's always strange stuff that shows up on the beach out there. Something about the amphibia is that they can't breathe like us. They depend on an air sac underneath their head, and it inflates. Which they don't have a diaphragm. It's the biggest difference because we have a diaphragm below us. I mean, when you're getting into singing or whatever, you have to concentrate on your diaphragm movement and stuff. So we have the ability to breathe from a diaphragm, but an amphibian doesn't have that. He has sacs on the side underneath his face, and he inflates that, and that produces his exchange of air. So if that's an alien feature out there, it's really not an advantage. I didn't make a note of that though, but it is something different from what we have, and they had discovered that if that gets cut, they can't breathe. They can't. Their lungs can't inflate. So it's not really an advantage, but it is an alien feature. I would not suspect that would be an alien, but it might be a little bit more life form out there. You know, possibly on another planet that's not just a frog. It's more of a large amphibian or something like that. You know, you never know how many of these species out there will become larger. Just like the dinosaur, they try to show you, well, the dinosaurs were actually birds, and they went from being that large to back down to being a little small bird like that. Or listening to that all after that, which is my parakeets. You know, the skeletons do have some traits of the dinosaurs, but there's just no, you know, from that large and an animal, they can't show any kind of lineage between those two, between the bird and a huge dinosaur. There is no linkage between those. So the evolutionists were way off on that too. So, as far as the female goes, she does deposit her offspring in water, and usually puddles. They live up there in the Alps, up there in Europe, and they just wait till they'll get a lot of rain and start getting puddles and stuff. And the female goes to the edge and lays her eggs, but she doesn't actually go in. She's not fully, she cannot swim underwater anymore. She just backs into the, and deposits her eggs and then takes off. But she can have, up to lay up to 72 eggs a larva, which is a lot of huge numbers. There's some, I was looking through the sci-fi, and there are a possibility that there's aliens out there that do have the ability reproduce themselves outside of a body in a more of a artificial encasement, and that might be a possibility, but there's nothing in medical science out there it would indicate, anything I've read would indicate they have the ability to even closely do that yet. They do have the ability to reproduce body parts in a laboratory, but not a human being from scratch. They don't have the ability to do that. So that's a long way off, but it is a possibility. It would be an advantage to be able to reproduce 40 to 50, 100 people within a couple of days through that process, especially if you had to increase the numbers. Either there was a catastrophe, a war, or whatever, and all of a sudden you had to increase the numbers. That is an advantage to any kind of alien species that has the ability to do that. So it's a possibility, but I don't see anything in science yet to say that it's possible yet. Other than the fact they can reproduce certain kind of body parts now, and use them as out in hospitals and stuff. But it's in the King James Bible that they had immortality and stuff. Some lived to 600, 900 years. I got that up on my site. I don't get into the religion that much, but I did do some research. And it talks about Adam and Eve having, maybe 25 kids or 100 kids. It's a possibility, if you're looking at thinking in terms of ancient aliens, that they had the possibility to do that. Those biblical stories do indicate that they might have had the ability to do that. But the problem with King James Bible is it's wrote from that time period, so it's hard to decipher between the primitive and the advanced. It is telling a story, and when you add our understanding of modern science, you start reading the stories again, it would indicate that they had the ability to do that in the past. So it is a possibility, and any alien species that would have that ability to do that, it'd be a big advantage. Well, that ends this lecture for today.